So you are able to see the board, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So now I think we'll start our course itself. Okay. So now so as all of you remember, so last class we have done this the finite difference method, the numerical dispersions we have seen in great detail. Okay. So this is a very the important thing which we have seen in our last class. Okay. So now and then finally, say what is the steps you have to follow to avoid this numerical dispersion. Also we have seen in our last class. Okay. So this we have seen. Okay. So now as already we discussed, right, there are two things are there. When omega is this one, and but k is physical, okay, or it is a real kind of a quantity, or we have the other case was so k this one omega is physical kind of a thing. Okay. So generally in our all the calculations set, okay, the first one only is the widely used actual, okay. The second one is used only to have a cross verification. So if you remember, the last class we have given steps to be followed, okay. So before starting, you see you have to decide, you see f mean, then the f max, okay, what is the minimum frequency you want to simulate, and then f max kind of a thing. Then based on this you can find out lambdas, okay. So lambda mean and then lambda max also. So this anyway so c by f max, and then you say c by f mean. So this you can easily find out actually, okay, the lambdas itself. Then we have to calculate these things, that is delta, so ph by c into sm kind of a thing. So anyway sm is 1 and we want 0 less than so this p less than or equal to 1. And then you see, so we have found out this phase velocity. So this phase velocity, whatever we wrote in our last class, it is based on the k is real but omega is complex, okay. I'm just writing, already we have written in our last class. So arc cos, say, so 1 plus p square, so cos of 2 pi by n times lambda minus 1, say, okay. So this multiplied by c. So then after that we have grid dispersion, that's a group velocity also we have written. So that is which is given by this expression. So this also we had an expression. So this is also some the function of n lambda and then p. So these are the two things are there, okay, multiplied by some c kind of a thing. So what did we do in the last class? What are the steps how to proceed? If you see last class, say, so first what is that you have to do?
To stability ratio, sir.
So first you have to this you have to decide actual, okay. So this decision, say, you have to do based on your computer memory also. See sometimes if you take very less h value, very less the time increments and spatial increments, the memory may increase or time it will increase. So you have to take a decision. So if you take large values, then you will have stability problem. If you take small values, then you have this computation problem. Suppose if it is small type of mesh, it's okay, but the handling large meshes, you have an issue, okay. And what is another criteria? Now what is the criteria? We said the most important criteria. Now after you fix up your p values here, the second criteria was that is your arrival time. So based on the arrival times, right, you have to, this is the most important thing. So you have to decide how much distance you are going to simulate. So based on this one, so d is the distance, so d by, you see, so your v bar, say, of this itself, okay. This is your the grid velocity, okay. So this is your grid dispersion velocity and this is your actual, okay. So this should be less than or equal to delta. So this has to be selected. How much error you are ready to assume kind of a thing. Okay. Then finally you select n lambda for this corresponding p and then this delta. So this you have to select. So once you have this n lambda, then next step is you select h. H is nothing but your spatial increment. Okay. So this you can do this one. So now after this you have to do this cross verification. So p h by c into Sn. So once you have this one, you select a time increment. Okay. So first you are selecting spatial increment, then you are selecting your time increment. Okay, and the last step is you have to calculate, see all the velocities whatever you have used, say. So these two things whatever you have used, so they have come from the first method procedure actually. Okay, now this case we are not taking these values, but we just cross verify. Okay, so this cross verification, so here also you remember last class we told your psi or eta or something, they all have to lie between -1 to 1 such that imaginary part is 0. We have discussed in the last class. Okay, so based on that you followed it. So this is a cross verification. Okay, so attend this one normalized, you see, p kind of a thing. So this comes from the second one. So if you follow all these steps, say, okay, so you can minimize the dispersion from, for the first case both the things will get automatically satisfied. So you start with this, and then this you can verify as a condition. Okay, so this is how generally, of course you can do the reverse also. See, like for example, you can take with the second case the dispersion velocity, the group velocity you can take for the second case. So but if you start with the second case, say, you will not be fixing n lambda, you will be fixing nt actually, how many time points it will give you. Once time points, then you have to select the h actual. Okay, in the first procedure, so we are selecting h, then we are going for delta. So here you follow it the reverse way kind of a thing also it happens. So this is just a broad guidelines which you have to follow when you are writing your code in finite difference method. Okay, so I have asked you to plot all the graphs whatever is given in that Moxo textbooks, say. Okay, so he has plotted the several graphs like figures you followed, right? 7.1, 7.2, 7.3 if you see, say. So he has given with the n lambda how the group velocity, this phase velocity, so how it is going to vary, you followed with the n lambda, n of t, all kinds of things he has plotted in the textbook, it is there. So for you to understand in a better fashion, sir, I suggest all of you to plot this all the graphs whatever is been given in the textbook itself. Okay, I think some of you, I think Jyoti has sent one MATLAB code. I think Bhargavi also, she has sent these codes to me. Others I don't know. You please plot all these things. You write a small the MATLAB code for this. So you please plot all the graphs whatever the textbook they have plotted. Okay, so you will have a better understanding of our this subject. Okay, so fine. So this ends our grid dispersion, but we will come back. Okay, when we go to other issues also. Okay. And one more thing you have to remember is, so this grid dispersion or this grid dissipation, say, of course, there are this procedure is there, but we have some issues are there. When you try to implement it in practice, there are some other issues are there. Okay, so this is like a broad guideline, but if you are trying to do in 3 dimensions, you say, okay, so then you will, if it is unstructured grid, so you have delta x is different, delta y is different, delta z is different. Then how do we select this thing? And then if you're having a layered medium, say, our metal properties are varying, in a laterally as well as with respect to depth, what velocity you have to use, there are so many issues comes up in practice. So this is just approximate guideline to avoid this difficulties. Okay, so now let us see this finite difference schemes. Now, how do we represent? Okay, the staggered grid and others we have already, I have told you verbally, but we will let us derive those equations also. Now, one most important thing also, suppose your Young's modulus, the material properties. Okay, so if the material properties are varying, say, okay, they are also varying. Now, how handle this in see, like for example, I have a beam or any material. Okay, so now if I divide this into several points, say, so the Young's modulus, for example, here it is E1, E2, E3, E4, you followed, right? So material properties are varying, or p wave velocity you followed, right, or shear wave velocity, say. So they are varying actually. Okay, in lateral direction as well as in with respect to depth. Now, how we will going to handle these type of issues in our finite difference method? Okay, so now let us the same one-dimensional wave equation. Let us see, say, okay, that is displacement formulation. If you see now, So displacement formulation, you remember, right? Long back we have told in our continuum mechanics we can solve in three or four ways, I think. One is a displacement way, or displacement stress, displacement velocity stress, then we have velocity stress also. Okay, so let us see the displacement formulations. So all of this equation, so dou square u by dou t square. So now our p wave velocity and metal property is also varying actually. So now, so we write this as m into dou u by dou x actually. Okay, suppose if m is a homogeneous medium, say, so then you can write this as dou square u by dou x square. So this is valid for homogeneous medium. Okay, now suppose if m is also varying, say, okay, now this is heterogeneous kind of a thing. So now how do we handle these type of cases in finite difference? The problem is here, you have to find out derivative with with respect to derivative of m also you have to find out actually. Okay, so this that's the derivative of material properties essentially. So this is also another the headache which comes in the numerical calculations, because metal properties are also varying, say. So now because they come inside the derivative, so how do I represent this in our finite difference approach also? Okay, so now here this is also another headache. See, now we already numerically you followed, right, how to represent this, we have sorted out. Now this is another headache, what order scheme we have to use, second, or so this gives rise, you followed, right, lot of complications. Okay, so what we try to do in our this approach, say, we don't use a derivative, we use it in a another easy fashion kind of a thing. So this equation, say, okay, so if I represent this everything you pull down to one side. Okay, so this equation if you write as rho into dou square u by dou t square minus dou by dou x, so m into dou u by dou x. Okay, so I'm just putting everything one side, so you can write like this. So now here what we do to handle this is we define a new variable. Okay, so let me write also. So define a new variable. Okay, some phi. So this is m into dou u by dou x. So then what happens is, so this is our phi. So now our dou by dou x is say. Okay, so m into dou u by dou x. Okay, so with respect to m and I. Okay, so this you can write it in a finite difference format. So dou phi by dou x. Okay, so this you can write, so this is just a first derivative. Okay, so if you central difference formulas with respect to space, okay, so we can write this as I plus some half minus phi m I minus half. Okay, so the derivative can be estimated is like this. So now this term is phi by m is equal to dou u by dou x. So this quantity, if you integrate on both the sides, okay, so you can write this as some xi with xi plus 1, okay, phi by m. So this xi plus 1, okay, so dou u by dou x, if you integrate on both the sides, you say. Okay, so now this you can use our mean value theorem, you would have studied in your mathematics. Okay, it's a very famous theorem. Okay, so to represent this quantity, so you can write this expression as, so phi say m I plus the half integral xi plus 1 by m, okay, times dx. And on your right hand side, say, so this can be written as u of I plus 1 m minus u of I m. Okay, so this quantity is okay, so which is integral of this expression, we call this as harmonic average. Okay, so this is represented is some we are representing some other notation, harmonic average. Okay, so I plus 1 by 2, so this we are defining as 1 by h xi, so xi plus 1 1 by m dx. Okay, so we define this is and of course reciprocal of this one. Okay, so this we call as a harmonic average kind of a thing. So now, so using this expression, say, so your phi m I plus 1 by 2 So you can write this as m x h. Okay. So I plus 1 by 2. So 1 by h. So um I plus 1 minus I. Okay, so this is our variable. So now you substitute, say, your phi and all those things into the expression. So you substitute this quantity in this equation. Okay, the final equation, whatever we have here. So automatically, we can write this expression as you see, like this. So that is dou by dou x. So m dou u by dou x. Okay, so this you have to write it in a finite difference format. So this becomes 1 by h square. Okay, so m x h. So um I plus 1 minus I. Okay, so minus so another next derivative is an outer derivative. So I minus half. Okay, so ui of m minus I minus 1. Okay, so this is how we represent this derivative itself. So finally, if you sum up everything, say dou square u by dou t square and other things, so you can write this your final difference, the equation, the final equation can be written as, so you have to combine this with rho into dou t dou u square by dou t. So rho I. Okay, so 1 by del square. So u m plus 1 minus 2 ui m plus ui m minus 1. Okay, so minus you substitute this also 1 by h square. So you have this the harmonic averages. Okay, I plus 1 by 2. So I plus 1 m minus ui of m plus sorry, this minus is there here. Just substituting the above expression here. So I minus 1 by 2. I minus 1. So this is our expression. Okay, so final equation, you see. So this is our final difference equation. So this was our original equation, that is EQ we have already written here. So this is our original equation here. So now this equation, say, we have represented in a final difference format. So this type of a format. Now the main advantage here is where the main advantage why we have to do this. So the derivatives with respect to m, say, so these type of derivatives are there. Okay, so we are replacing the derivatives with these harmonic averages. Okay, so they are defined as just your integrals. So if you are having this material properties here, okay, so what you have to do is, if you take a small region, or you can assume it to be a constant, you divide them into different grid points, say. So whatever m value you are having, you take a reciprocal of that one, and then you see you can take its integral, and then you can you follow, right, or reciprocal of inverse reciprocal of that one will give you this the harmonic averages. So the main advantage in this formulation is, instead of say derivatives are problematic. Okay, so computing derivative means always a problem, but computing integral is a very easy actual. Okay, so that's the main. So what we try to do here in our finite difference method is, so when the material properties are also changing, say, okay, so we don't compute their derivatives. So the formulation is such a way that you have to compute the integrals, okay, of your material properties, that we use it in our finite difference format. Okay, so now this is how we try to do when material properties are also changing here. So now if you try to find out this truncation error, okay, so what is the error with this finite difference equation? So long back we have told, what do we call this one? See the Taylor expansion, say, of your FDEQ, that finite difference equation minus the original equation. Okay, now what do you call this thing? What is this property known as? So long back you followed, right?
Consistency.
No, it is not convergence. Please be here. So what is convergence? Convergence is with respect to the final output. Okay, but whereas in our this thing, what we are trying to say is, so whenever you have anything, so finally first thing you have to check is consistency. You remember? So this is the most important property, the consistency. Okay, convergence is with respect to the final variable. See, finally after solving everything, you will get a displacement only. Okay, so how good is this displacement compared to the actual displacements here? So that we are calling as a convergence. Okay, so consistency, the first it has to do directly with the equation. So you have already a original equation is there, and you have replaced that equation with this finite difference scheme itself. So that we call as a consistency operator. Okay, so I think this don't get confused between those things. So now you have to find out this truncation error, we say. Okay, now in this problem say, of course there are several derivatives are there, you can verify yourself. So one can show that this becomes dou to the power of 4u by dou t to the power of 4. So del square plus order will be del to the power of 4. This is with respect to the time. Then you have a spatial term also, 1 by 24. Okay, so now dou cube m by dou x cube dou u by dou x. Okay, so plus 1 by 8 dou square m by dou x square dou square u by dou x square. So you can get this from the the Taylor series expansion. Dou x dou cube u by dou x cube. Why we are getting two things is because m is also varying. Okay, we are talking about heterogeneous medium. That is why these all the derivatives comes into picture here. Dou x to the power of 4 multiplied by h square plus other terms, they are all of the order of h to the power of 4 itself. Okay, and now this tells you how good is your the finite difference scheme, what is the accuracy of your finite difference. So now what is the accuracy of our finite difference scheme? How do you find out? So now this tells you, right, what type of finite difference scheme, how much accuracy we are having, or what is the order of our finite difference scheme.
4.
No, this is the error. Okay, the error terms of the order of 4. The thing for general infinite difference, you have to see this term actually. Okay, del square h square. So you can say that the scheme is second order actually in space as well as time. So if you want increase orders, what you have to do? See, how did we represent derivatives here? See, in the previous problem, how are you writing our derivatives? See, like for example, whatever derivative we had said. So how are you writing the derivatives here? What is the order of this derivative? What is the expression we have used? See, we have right forward difference, backward difference. Then here we have used central difference only. And all of right, for central differences, what is the error? It is order of h square only, follow right, del square only. Suppose if you want to increase this or decrease the error, what you have to do is like last class we have told, right? So here to compute the derivative, so you are using only 2 points. Okay, that is I plus half, this is I, and I minus this is I minus half, I plus half actually. So if you want to increase the this one say, so you add some more points also. You followed it to compute the derivative what I say. Then obviously the higher order terms will come. That is how you can increase decrease your error actually. Okay, so this is a consistency. So here we are getting a separate integrals. The reason is your m is you followed right heterogeneous kind of a thing. The heterogeneous material. So you have these type of issues will come. Okay. So now so if you see this this expression, now suppose if m is homogeneous, say, now what happens to these derivatives? Tell me. Suppose if it is a homogeneous medium, say, now what happens in this expression?
It will be 0 when it's
So this will be what will be dou cube, dou square, dou m, all of them will be vanish.
0.
Okay, only you have with this term. Okay, so see this expression here, 1 by 12 m dou to the power of 4u. Same expression with respect to time, because in time also we have used the central difference, space also we have central difference. So this is how we get actual. Okay, so now if it is homogeneous medium, say, okay, so if it is a homogeneous medium, you can write it. Okay, so your truncation error of your finite difference scheme. Okay, so this will be simply 1 by 12 rho dou to the power of 4 u by using dou to the power of 4 del square plus order, the other terms are our order like this, and you have minus 1 by 12 m into dou to the power of 4 u by dou x to the power of 4 h square plus order h to the power of 4 actual. Okay, and our final difference equation say this also you can write. So m and I, so this will be simply you have to neglect all other terms, so rho into 1 by del square ui m plus 1 minus 2 ui m plus ui m minus 1. Okay, so minus m, so 1 by h square, so u m I plus 1 minus 2 ui m. So this is a spatial derivative. Okay, so ui minus 1 m. So this is your second derivative with respect to space. This is the second derivative with respect to time itself. Okay, so you can write this expression also like in a time marching scheme say. So these are for the consistency. So if you want those expressions, you can write this as as a time marching scheme if you want to do. So you can also write like this. So ui m plus 1. Okay, at future time. So this you can write this as im minus ui m minus 1 plus b I. Okay. So delta by h. Okay. So whole square. So you have this harmonic averages. Okay. I plus half. So um I plus 1 minus I. Okay. So minus your harmonic average 1 by 2. So we have I minus I minus 1. So this is our expression for the time marching. So given the displacements at the previous times, okay, so using this expression, you see, you can march into the future at time steps, this itself. So if it is a smooth homogeneous medium, say, okay, so these harmonic averages you followed, right? So this and this, both of them will be same actually. So they automatically come out of this expression. So what happens if both of them are same? So now you will be having I plus 1 m minus this term will be there. So this will be replaced with this type of expression. Okay, so um is I minus 1 itself. So this expression will become m into delta by h whole square some b plus the first term is going to remain same for a homogeneous medium. Okay. So this is the only difference between homogeneous and then you followed, right, the heterogeneous media. So this expression, so only thing is so you will have a harmonic averages actual. Okay, so when material properties are varying, so this is how you represent in our finite difference schemes here. So when material properties are changing, so what you have to do is their scheme remains the same, but only thing, instead of differentiating these material properties, which is complex kind of a thing, so we represent in terms of this harmonic average. So these are most important thing, how we represent material properties in our finite difference approach. Okay, so we try to avoid the derivatives, so we replace them with this type of integrals. Okay, so this is how fine. Now let us see how this spatial staggered grids comes in practice actual. Okay, so now let us see this displacement stress formulation. So previous example was with displacement formulation. Now let us see displacement stresses. Okay, this type of formulation. So now all of so the equations, we have two equations. One is rho dou square u by dou t square and dou sigma by dou x. Okay, so this is the equation which relates stress and displacement. Then we have another relation actually. Okay, so that is stress versus strain actually. So m into dou u by dou x. This is for one dimension. Okay, so we have two equations. This also is equal to 0. Okay, so you can write as sigma is equal to m into dou u by dou x, and rho dou square u by dou t square is dou sigma by dou x. You can write you followed it this way also. So this is what we call as displacement stress formulation. Okay, so we are solving, instead of one equations, we are solving two equations, one for stress, other one you followed it like this. So now here what we try to do in finite difference approach, we have issues are there. The issue is, suppose if I take any space-time grid, say, okay. So if I take any particular point, so here I want to calculate this thing. So now the problem here is, see, this is what is this term? This is nothing but the first derivative actually. So now, so this equation is something like, at this point, whatever I am doing here, I have to compute the first derivative of stress, and then secondary, and this first derivative of stress is with respect to space actually. But whereas this is the second derivative of displacement with respect to time. So both of them should be defined at the same space-time grid itself. Now if you see the second equation, say here also we have a issue. What is the issue is, you are having a stress here. Okay, this is a derivative actual. So if I take any point in my the grid, finite difference grid, so at that point I should have defined sigma, and I also should know this dou u by the first derivative, and it has to be approximated at the same space-time grid itself. Okay. So this is a problem. How do we represent? You have a second order derivative with time, then first order derivative with respect to stress. One is a displacement, another one is sigma. Both of them have to be approximated at the same space-time grid. Okay. Now another equation is, you have a stress here, then derivative of displacement, that is with respect to space. Both of them has to be approximated, at the same you followed, right? The grid itself. So like for example, if you see this, the first the equation says, so it is eq u, the first equation. If you see the second temporal derivative, say, okay, so the second temporal derivative, okay, of displacement, and first the spatial derivative, okay, the first spatial derivative of sigma, they have to be approximated at the same you followed, right? They have to be approximated. So they have to be approximated at the same space-time grid position. So at the same space-time, the grid itself. Now if you see the second equation, say, so we have stress and first derivative actually, and first temporal derivative, you can say, okay. Sorry, temporal or spatial, sorry, it is spatial derivative. So first spatial derivative of displacement. So this also have to be approximated at same the space-time grid actually. So this is a, how do we represent, you followed, right, these type of equations in finite differences. So automatically you followed, right. So this gives rise to natural the staggered you see the grids. So because it is a very because you have to match several derivatives. One is in both of them you followed, one is a temporal, another one is spatial, another may be a plane like sigma here itself. So this is a problem, and you have to match both the equations also. So this gives rise to, you followed, right, the spatial the temporal grid. So now we represent like this. Okay, so generally we draw this in a framework like this. In olden days, if you are writing a computer program in finite difference, you have to show this type of grid actually. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. 1, 3. Okay, so this is our graphs. So you have to draw these type of things. You have to illustrate. So this is x. So I have x I minus 1. X I minus half, then this is x I, then I have x I plus half, then x I plus you followed it 1. Now this is a time, so Tm minus 1, so Tm, and then Tm plus 1. Okay, so this is our time. So these are our grids actually. So now what we try to do is, so we have these are the grids. Okay. So what is meant by staggered grid? You remember long back I have told you what is meant by staggered grid. What is meant by staggered grid? Long back I told you, right? I think last week or maybe before that, we discussed, right? Unstructured, structured, staggering, all those things we have seen. What is the meaning of those things? No.
Uniform grid.
No, uniform is
Different.
no. So what did we told there? See, uniform, that is fine, but staggered grid, what did we tell? See,
Each
displacement.
vertex, we will assign only one property.
No, not one property. See, like for example, these are the filled dots. So let me draw here. Long back we have discussed. Okay. So now at these grid points we define displacement. You followed. So displacements are defined at one grid, whereas stresses say they are defined at some other grid actually. Say like for example, if you see this figure, say now where displacements are defined, so displacements are defined at xi minus 1 and time tm minus 1, tm and tm plus 1. Now when you see the stresses, say stresses are not defined at xi minus 1, stresses are defined at xi minus half and of course these times actually. So displacements are defined at some point, grid points, whereas stresses are defined at some other grid points. So this is what we call, as you followed it, the staggered grid actually. Okay. I think one more grid also we will see later on. So you remember long back we discussed, I think I have drawn a cube kind of thing also. So what is this staggered grid? Comes in 3D say. So automatically this grid comes. See, you will define normal stresses at one grid points. Shear stresses at another grid points, horizontal velocity some other place, vertical velocity some other place. Like this also we define. So where the displacement is defined, you are not defining stress there. Okay, so where you are defining the stress, you are not so this type of grid we call as the staggered grid actually. Why staggering comes? What is the reason? No.
Memory, less memory.
No. See the formulation just now. See, suppose how the equations are looking like here. See, suppose if we are having an equation like this, u is equal to some sigma like this, say, okay, some k times or some type of equation if you have, say. So here what is happening? So displacement at I, say, should be related to at that place only. But here what's the problem in these equations? What is same? Just now I told you, right, what is the problem here? You are not supposed to match displacement and stress. What is that you have to match in the first equation? Now, suppose if I take any grid, okay, suppose this grid point I have taken here, say. So this grid point, what is that I have to match here? What is that I have to match? Now, what is that we have to match here? See the equation. What does the equation says? At that particular point, the first derivative of stress, that is spatial derivative of stress, then the second derivative of displacement with respect to time, these two has to be matched actually, not displacement and stress. You understand? So at any particular point, you are not linking u with the sigma. The equation itself says that dou sigma by dou x and dou square u by dou t square are linked. As second equation says, sigma and dou u by dou x are linked, not sigma with respect to u itself. So this is the reason why automatically you get into this type of a staggered grids actually, because you are not matching exactly the variables themselves. So because the derivatives are different, one is second order and that also time, another is first with respect to space, or the variety cases are there. So we have a problem here. So now, so our equations say we write like this. So your final difference equation for u, the first equation say we write like this. Okay. So this equation we write is so rho I. So the second derivative of dou square u by dou t square. So you all of so we write in our final difference format the second the derivative. So 2i by m plus you see ui m minus 1. So this is rho dou square u by dou t square. Now you have to write that dou u by dou sigma by dou x. So that we write as 1 by we also use central difference here. So 1 by h. So sigma is at m. Okay. So I plus half minus sigma m. So I minus the half actually. So this is how we write. See this expression carefully. What is that this expression tells you? This, what is this one? What is this final difference term? The second one, it is nothing but first derivative only. But where are you computing this derivative? See, I plus half, I minus half is there. So like you see, I plus half, I minus half actual. Where are you computing derivative?
Only in space.
See, when you are using I minus half, I plus half, where are you computing the derivative? At I only, right? See, now we are having 3 points. So now in central difference schemes, what is that you try to do? So this is I minus half, this is I plus half. To compute a derivative at I, what are you doing in central difference format? You use this minus this divided by h, say. So you are computing derivative at I only, you understand? I and time instant is also m itself, you understand here. So now, so we are using the stress value at I minus 2, stress value at I plus half to compute a derivative of stress at I only, you understand? So this is how we are trying to compute. Now you see the first term, what is the first term indicates? What is this term? What are you doing here?
So we are at I, we are
At
taking
different
m
time.
plus.
Now this is, see, first thing is it is with respect to time. Okay. What is this term? It is nothing but second derivative. Dou square u by dou t square. Where are you computing the second derivative with respect to time? You are computing it? Where are you computing? See, the subscript is I. So now you are computing at this place only, you understand? So here only you are computing actual. So here you are computing the second derivative of u with respect to time. So once again, here, I'm sorry, okay, I think it's not at m minus 1, sorry. So now you are computing the second derivative here, you understand? So second derivative of u at I you are finding, and at time m itself. Okay, so that is how you see we have written as m and I itself. Okay, so this is how you have to compute the derivative. So automatically, since so this gives rise to staggered grid. You have understood? See, any question here? No. See, our equations, we are not matching displacements with the stresses. Our equation says second derivative of u at I, m and I should be same as, the first derivative of spatial derivative of stress at that same place actually. Okay, so to compute, we do like this. So this gives rise to automatically natural, okay, the staggered grid, automatically comes. You followed. So these how automatically the staggered grid comes into picture actually. Now let us write the second equation.
Sir,
Tell me.
let's say in the equation we have u and sigma also in addition to what we have right now. Then in that case, do we have to define at each and every point?
Hold on. What is u? So now this is our equation, right? Now what is u? Tell me.
Here we have dou square u by dou t square, and let's say in this equation we have dou u by dou t and u also.
Okay. Then
So
obviously the grid will be different, the staggered grid. We will see. The next formulation we will see velocity stress formulations. In the velocity stress formulation, the equations are different. So the grid also will change.
okay.
So this grid is valid only for these two equations only.
Okay.
So now here what did we do in the first case? See, in the first case, what was our equation? We combined, stresses we have eliminated. So this was our equation. So rho we followed. How was the grid
Only
here?
displacements.
What was the grid here? So this equation. What was the grid here? See here, what is the advantage you are having? Suppose if m is homogeneous, say, what is our equation? Dou t square is equal to m into dou square u by dou x square. What type of grid you will get here? Tell me. Now, what type of grid here it is? So right hand side displacement. Directly and what? So now this also u, this also u, this also second derivative, this is also second derivative actually. One is with respect to time, another one is with respect to space. So here what type of grid we have used? So if you draw a grid also, say, okay. So where is the displacement defined? So displacement is defined at all the points actually. You followed, right? So this is not a staggered grid at all. You understand?
Yes, sir.
So staggered grid comes because of this problem. You have to match, one derivative, 2-3 variables are there. one is second derivative, another one is this type of derivative, say. So then you have to do, but you are computing at the same point only. That is a basic equation, but you are estimating this displacement and stresses at separate points to compute the derivative. Okay, so this is how the grid, and this grid is valid only depends on the equations what you are solving. Okay, and now let us write the second equation, that is for the stress. Okay, so your final difference is say. So this is for the stress. Okay, so m, and we write I plus half, because why we are writing I plus half? See why we are writing I plus half. See what is our second equation? Second equation was sigma minus m dou u by dou x. This is our equation. You followed, right? The second one, why I have to write I plus half? Because I am not defining stress at no. See why I am writing I plus half, because I am not defining stresses at I. You understand, right? At I am not defining stresses. At I am defining stresses only at I minus half, I plus half, like that only. You understand? So that's why we are not defining stresses at I. Okay. So that's why you say sigma m I plus half only. So this becomes so now I plus half. Okay. This equation, that is a sigma, and minus m into dou u by dou x. So here I can use the derivative. So if it is a homogeneous material or m plus halves, I am writing this also assuming material is heterogeneous kind of thing. So 1 by h, so um I plus 1 minus um I actual. So this is how we compute our derivatives here. Now for u also, what is the problem here? So u also, I am defining u at xi minus 1, like that we are defining our derivatives. Okay, so that's why you see, so we write like this. So u at I plus 1, then u at I actual. So this is so here what type of difference it is? What type of difference it is? I plus 1 minus ui.
Forward difference.
Forward.
See, that's why it is not forward, it is central only. Why? Where are you computing the output? Output you are computing at?
Oh, I plus half, yeah.
I plus half, no. Because u is not defined at I plus half. You understand? So now to compute at I plus half, so this is your I plus half. Okay. And I plus 1 is here, I is here actual. So where are you computing the derivative? Middle or above or backward? You are computing the derivative at this place only. So what type of difference it is?
Central difference.
Central difference only. You followed, because you are not defining, there is nothing like a central difference means forward means it is not I plus 1 minus I. You understand, right? Suppose if you are using I plus 1 I, that is a different, but you are computing this to find out at I plus half only. So this is also central difference only, but because of the staggered grid say, so this confusion comes actually. So these are very, very important thing in finite difference. Okay, because the staggered grid automatically comes. It is not that you are forcing the grid like that. We have not taken the grid like that. Okay, so because if you don't take the grid like that, then you will violate the fundamental equations itself. Okay, because you are not matching stress and displacement at that point. You are matching their derivatives, and the orders are also different. That is why you see this comes into picture. So if you write these equations in a time marching scheme, you can write like this. The first equation say m plus 1, so this will be 2 ui m minus ui m minus 1, the first equation only, some bi del square by this h t sorry so instead of stress we are writing as t, capital T, traction. Okay, so Tm I plus half minus Tm I minus half. So this is the first equation. Okay, the second equation say, so Tm I plus 1 by 2, this is the stress. Okay, so m I plus 1 by 2. Okay, so 1 by h, so um I plus 1 minus um I actually. So this is how we write this equation. This is the stress and displacement and this is your stress and displacement only, but second derivative of second temporal derivative and first derivative of your stress actual. Okay, so this is how the time marching equations comes. So you can substitute. So now if you can substitute this in these terms, say, okay, so this equation also you can write it in one go. Okay, so you substitute the finite difference equation of stress, okay, in the first equation, say, you can combine, you can write everything in one go, you know. So uy m plus 1, so 2 uy m I, okay, plus bi delta by h, okay, whole square. You have this m I plus half um I plus 1 minus of I. Okay, we are combining everything in one go. So m minus half uim minus is I minus 1. Okay, so this is a final expression from displacement stress, you know, the scheme itself. Now you can compare this with the pure displacement formulation also. Okay, that is the equation which we derived, you know, the previously. Because both the equations are same, you know, so this is our equation. Okay, so if you compare this equation with the first one, say, where we wrote you know, this equation, so now if you compare these two, what is that? So this is our equation which we have got from you know, this scheme, that is you
Displacement
followed, right?
formulation.
Displacement for both of them should be same, no, because both the equations are same. If you substitute sigma is equal to m dou u by dou x here, you will get the first equation itself. So you see this equation and this equation, whether both of them are same or different. Yeah. So if you see followed, right? So when you know, both of them look similar, you know, right now, but you followed, right? If you replace, the only problem here is, you know, you are having m I plus half, m I minus half kind of a thing. Whereas here, what you have, oh, here also you have I plus half. Okay, this also is same. And now what happens is, you know, I plus 1 ui I minus 1 we have. Now if you see here, say, okay, these are all both of them are almost, you can see
It's everything is
same only, you followed, right? So now this is how you see it comes. Okay, the displacement stress formulation and the other one actual. So now to solve these equations, so you can solve this, or you followed, right? You can do this equation. So first you find out stresses, you update stress, you substitute, and then you find out displacement. That is how, you know, we try to solve. And now let us see the another scheme, okay, which is the one which is widely velocity stress scheme. And now you will see, you followed, right? The staggered grid, you know, it changes. Okay, the velocity stress formulation. Okay, and now in velocity stress, the equations are same, but now you write in terms of displacements, we replace, and then we write in terms of velocity. So dou v by dou t minus, you know, b into dou sigma by dou x, where b is nothing but 1 by rho. Okay, don't get confused. Reciprocal of density. Okay, now you have a sigma equation, say, that is, you know, dou sigma by dou t minus m into dou v by dou x. So these are the two equations for a velocity stress combination. Now here, what is the problem? So at each space-time grid, say, what is that you have to match here? Now the first equation, what is that you have to match? Suppose at I and m, so this is a grid point. So what is that you have to match here? Now what is this? See, this is the first temporal derivative of velocity. Now what is this quantity? This is a spatial derivative of stress. So this you have to match at I and m. Now the second equation, what does it tells you? It is a, you know, reverse. So you have temporal, you know, this one, and this is you followed it spatial. So this has to be matched. In the previous case, we had second derivative, we had that type of a problem is there. So now here the grid has to be, you followed it entirely, you know, different kind of a thing. So now our grid will be like this, automatically it comes rise to. Okay, so it is easy to represent in terms of a graph. Okay, so this is our x, this is our time. Okay. Okay, so now 1, 2, 3, then 4. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so if I write this as xi minus 1, then xi minus half, then xi, then of course x I plus half, and of course you can have xi plus 1 also. So now let us say tm minus 1, then tm minus half. Okay, then we have tm, then we have tm plus half actual. Previously it was tm m minus 1 was there, but now because we have derivatives, right, with respect to time, and we have the first derivatives are there, so this comes actually. So now our definition will be, you see, something like this. So if I denote like this, so some filled triangle say, so velocity will be defined, you see, like this. So velocity will be defined at this grid point. Okay, the stresses will be defined this grid point. So here automatically the scheme comes because you have to match something else here, and you follow it here. So this will be like this. Okay, so here the grid points are located like this. So this is V, and this is our sigma. So now sigma we are measuring at I minus half, and at time also tm minus 1 tm. But whereas the velocities, if you see, say we are measuring at I minus 1 xi kind of a thing, and but in time they are measured at m minus half and then m plus half itself. Okay, so you can write the equations. Now let us write this one. So it turns out to be like this. So the first equation, say, okay, so the final difference, the equation for V, that is m and I. Okay, so this equation, so we write it as, so 1 by delta, so V m plus half I minus Vi m minus half. Okay, so these are derivative with respect to time. Okay, and the space derivative is there. So B you followed it, I 1 by h, so sigma m, so I plus half minus sigma m, I minus half actual. Okay, now see here, what is the meaning of these statements? Now what is the meaning of this one? I plus half, I minus half. So where you are finding the derivative? No.
At I.
At I, okay, but I you are finding, that means at xi you are finding the derivative here. Okay, and in time you are finding at what point?
M.
Yeah, you followed, right? So these are now the first one. What does it tells you? M plus half, m minus half. So m plus half here,
At I
m minus
and M.
M. Okay, so this is at this point you followed it. We are trying to find out here. So this is, so now, so you are finding at the same point. So you are matching the derivative. So this is the first equation. Now similarly the second equation, say, that is for the sigma. This is also m minus half, and then you followed it I minus half. Okay, because of matching, you have to do like this. So 1 by delta. Okay, so sigma m I minus half, so sigma m minus 1 I minus, sorry, this I minus half. So this is the first derivative with respect to time. Then we have another derivative for displacement, I minus half, so 1 by h minus v I minus 1 m minus half. Okay, so now here also what type of difference it is? What type of difference it is? Forward, central, or backward?
Central.
It is still central, because where are you finding finally the value?
Minus half.
I minus half. Now what is this thing? What type of difference is this one? M you are having m minus 1. This is not
Central at
forward,
M minus
central.
half.
So both are central only. When you look at the equation, you know, you will get tempted. Actually, it looks as though, you know, forward different, but that is wrong. You followed, right? So you can see now. I think Bhargav, you asked the right question. The, you know, the grid is different or same?
It's different, sir. Yes.
So it depends on, because why it is different, because the equation itself is different, you understand. So at each grid point, so now we have to match, you know, the first derivative. So if you write different formulations, say, so you know, this type of a problem comes in finite difference. Okay, so that's why the staggered grid say automatically comes. Now as already this is for one dimension. Now in 3D what happens? So in 3 dimensions, what we'll be having, we'll be having, you know, 3 normal stresses. Okay, then 3 shear stresses. Then you will be having, you see, 3 velocities, or you followed the displacements, you know, vx, vy, you see, vz actual. Now how shear stress and the shear, you know, the shear stress relations, you know, the shear stress and displacement relations, shear strain relations, say, or you know, the normal stress and others, you know, so you will get different variety of you know, the staggered grids. So we will see this after, you know, some point of a time. So what I want you to understand here is the staggered grid. It is not that we are forcing, okay, automatically, you know, it has to come up, because you know, to have to satisfy your equations. Okay, so it's not like, you know, it is like a, you know, we are taking decision, but the final difference solutions, they themselves automatically comes under this you know, this staggered grids. Okay, so now you know, so this equation, say, you can write it in a nice format, like, you know, you can time marching, say, so I m plus half, so this is equal to vi m minus half plus bi, which is a buoyancy reciprocal of you know, your density, so Tm. So if you want to just this time marching equations, minus Tm I minus half in the second equation, say, so which is for the stress, I minus half. So this becomes, you know, T m minus 1 I minus 1 by 2. So plus we have m. Oh, sorry. Yes. So Tm and this one. So plus you know, m harmonic average I minus half. So delta by h. So Vm minus half. So you have this I minus V m minus half and I minus 1. So these are the two equations. Okay, or you follow, right? You can substitute actually in you know, these expressions directly, and you know, you can write in terms of one equation itself if you want. So Vi m plus you know, 1 by 2. So Vi m minus half. So this remains you know, the same itself. Okay, so plus we have Bi delta by h. So m minus 1. So we have I plus half. Okay, so plus m I plus 1 by 2. So delta by h we have. So Vi plus 1 m minus half minus Vi m minus half. So this is our first expression. So other equation also we dump it, right? So two stresses are there. So m minus 1 I minus half minus m delta by h. So Vi minus half minus Vi minus 1 m minus half. So this is our final expression. So if we combine both of them, you know, it turns out to be like this actually. Okay, so now you can do some you know, the algebra, and then you can maybe simplify these expressions also. Okay, so you can make use of the simplification, and you can do some algebra here. I think the final expressions, you can write it in a simple format. You can do some alterations here and there. So Vi, okay, so 2Vi so m minus you know, 3 by 2, you can substitute actually. Okay, so and then you know, you can write some nice one. So m I plus half. Okay, so Vm plus 1 by 2 I plus 1 minus you can do some more algebra there. Okay, and then you can substitute all those terms. So minus m, so Vi m minus half. Okay, so you get a final expression, you see, like this actual. Okay, so you can substitute and then you can do some more algebra here. So this is our final the equations, like you can replace stresses with displacements actually, so the velocities. So you can have one equation for velocity. Now you followed, right? You cannot compare this equation with the previous equations. Why? Because the previous equations were in terms of displacements. But this is in terms of the velocity. So you can use this equation, or instead of writing here you can use these two itself. Okay, so like, but you have to do like at each time point at spatial instance. So first you find out stress, then you update here, then you run here, iterative fashion. You have to run these equations, or you can run everything in one go. Okay, you just write everything in terms of velocities, and you can time marching scheme or something you can use and get our solutions. Okay, so this is how you followed, right? We can do this the finite difference scheme, and this how this this what is done, this staggered scheme, say it comes into picture actual. Okay, and now here one more things also are there. So like whatever things we have used to say, okay, right now they are all second order. Okay, accuracy, so second order in space and time. Okay, so generally all these methods say, we call, generally they are known as 2 comma 2 actual. Okay, that is accuracy in space and time itself. So sometimes you follow, right? We can have higher order schemes also, like you can go for a second order in time, fourth order in space, or fourth order in time, fourth order in space. You can go for all these higher order schemes itself. So if you see this velocity stress, say, okay, but only thing is more number of points are required. Okay, so that is the only thing. So we have already written these equations. So dou v by dou t, say, minus b into dou sigma by dou x, and other equation eq sigma, say, so dou sigma by dou t minus m into dou v by dou x. So these are the equations for velocity stress formulation. So now you can go for higher order terms. Okay, so which means, so if you write this expansion, say Vi m plus half, expand in terms of Taylor series, m minus half. So we have delta dou v by dou t. Okay, so mi plus 1 by 24, say, del q. So this comes from Taylor series expansions. Okay, dou tq. So you have mi plus order is delta to the power of 5. So these is how the order higher order terms they comes into picture. Now similarly the Taylor series expansions for the sigma. Okay, that also you can write as, so sigma I minus half, say, so I minus half m minus 1 plus delta, so dou sigma by dou t, and then sorry m minus half, and then this also will be n minus half. Okay, so plus we have 1 by 24 by del cube, so dou cube sigma, say, by dou t cube. So this also is defined, you see, L minus half m minus half plus order of delta to the power of 5. Okay, so these are the derivatives now, right now. Okay, so if you expand in terms of the Taylor series, so if you want higher order the terms into calculations, say, so now we can decide actually. Okay, so if you include the higher order terms, automatically if you suppose if you drop the third temporal derivative, say, so this derivative if you drop, what happens, this and this, so this third derivatives if you drop, you followed, right? So you will go with your what type of accuracy you have now. See, suppose if you drop these terms, say, so this entire term is removed actually. So if you remove this entire term, so what does it tells you? Dou v by dou t will be same as vi m plus half minus vi m minus half divided by delta, which is the expression which you got. You followed, right? It is just the central difference scheme only. So now here also, to suppose if you neglect this term, say, so dou sigma by dou t, what is the dou sigma by dou t? If you substitute I minus half this side, so this becomes, the 2 scheme itself. You followed, right? If you neglect this third order schemes. So now, so if you can decide, if you, increase, if you incorporate the terms also, then we can, use this higher order derivatives also. Say, like for example, if you see this 2-4 scheme actually, velocity, stress, staggered scheme, we say. Okay, so these are the terms we have said here. So now for this scheme, say, so we do like this. So what we try to do is, so these are our equations. So the equation, whatever equation we are having, so 1 by delta. Okay, so vi m plus half minus, say, vi m minus half. Okay, plus order of del square minus b times so dou sigma by dou x m and I. Okay, the second equation, so eq sigma m minus half, then we have I minus half. So this also we can write as 1 by delta. So sigma I minus half minus sigma m minus 1 I minus half. So the temporal derivative we have substituted. Okay, spatial derivative we are not substituting. Minus m into dou sigma by dou v by dou x. Dou v by dou x. Okay, so m minus half, then I minus half actually. So what here we have done is, in time, say, we are using this second order scheme only. But now to represent this spatial derivative, say, instead of using second order scheme, we can go for fourth order itself, fourth order accuracy. So so if you go for fourth order accuracy, say, in space, second order in time, but in space it is a fourth order. So then we write this equation, say, so your final difference, the equation for the first equation m and I. Okay, the first term is going to remain same because this is with respect to time. So v m plus half I minus vi m minus the half. So this anyway second order in time, but in space now you are going for the higher orders. So if you are, so this turns out to be 1 by h. So 9 by 8 this term. So sigma m. So I plus half minus sigma m I minus half. Okay, so minus 1 by 24 because you are using more number of points. I plus 3 by 2 minus sigma m I minus 3 by 2. Okay, so this term you see comes into picture. So now to compute the spatial derivative, so you are using more number of points actually. You followed. So you are using I minus 3 by 2, then I minus half, then of course I you have, then I plus half, then you are having this I plus 3 by 2. So to compute the derivative at I, you are using almost you see 4 points. It is a higher order accuracy. But whereas here for computing the temporal derivative, say, you are using only 2 points only. That is m plus half and then m minus half actually. So this scheme is second order in time but fourth order in space. So if you write the second equation also, say, okay, for completeness for sigma also, so m minus 1 by 2 I minus 1 by 2. The first term anyway remains the same because we are not touching the temporal derivative. Okay, so sigma so we have m I minus half minus sigma m minus 1 I minus half. So these are temporal derivative. So this we are not touching at all. The spatial derivative only we are touching. Okay. So say 9 by 8. So vi m minus half minus vi minus 1 m minus 1 by 2 1 by 24, so vi plus 1 m minus half minus v m minus half I minus 2. Okay, so this is how we see we write our central difference, the higher order terms. So this scheme is known as 2 comma 4 actually. So the meaning is it is accuracy second order in time, and this is in space actually. Okay, so we are using more number of points. So like this we can derive even so 2 comma 4 comma 4 scheme also. So 4 comma 4 scheme means so this derivatives also have to be replaced. So this one as well as the first equation also we have a temporal derivative. So both of them has to be replaced in 4 comma this type of a scheme itself. So you can use both the cases you followed, right? 2 2 2 4 4 4 depending on your accuracy itself. Okay, so fine. So I will stop here. So we will continue in our next class. So if you have any questions, you can ask. So if you have anything, you can ask. See, what you people have to do is that textbook is there, right? Finite difference book, he has given all the derivations there. So I suggest all of you go to that book, say, okay? So you rederive with your, you can make your own notes kind of a thing. Then it will be much clearer. It will be there, okay?
Yes, sir.
And of course, you have received a dean's email. So what Dean says is he followed, right? He says that so from 1 to I think 5th, no. So 1 to 5 there should be no online classes. He is telling, okay. So he says you should not conduct quiz or anything like that, okay. So I don't know that break is for him or us, or I have no idea, okay. So anyway, we'll honor that itself. So tomorrow we'll have no class, okay. So I will send you, but what I suggest you is our first assignment, as already I told you, I think Bhargavi and Jyoti has sent something, but Siddharth they have not sent. Others also, Surya also, so that Moxo textbook say in the 7th chapter, whatever graphs he has given, so the dispersion, all the graphs, you please plot it actually, okay? And then you can plot with he already the answers, whatever he has already plotted, just plot the same graphs, okay? So you can write a small code it in MATLAB itself, so it will be nice for us. Is it fine?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So try anyway, holidays are there, so I think there should be no issue for all of you, okay?
The submission by what date, sir?
See, this course is not a ordinary course kind of a thing. This is a research course, you understand? So generally 7,000 level courses, you follow, right? These type of courses are something like, you yourself should come forward actually. You understand, right? So there should be no pressure from the teacher, So it is up to you, your interest, And this type of courses, what we expect is there is no, like it is not like a fixed kind of a thing. So we expect the students, whatever I say, so you should do much more than what I say. You followed. See, I have told you those graphs, okay? But you can plot your own graphs also. If you bring something new, which is interesting for me also, say, then obviously, that is the purpose of this course.
Sir, in general, what values do we use for the time step and that space step?
No, that too, first of all you have to decide, okay? So what we generally do is, so like we are doing it in finite elements or topography, or if you are doing, so first you have to decide the mesh size, okay? The spatial size you can fix, how much element size you want based on your memory or something like that. So once you feel that the topography is varying or metal properties are varying, so you fix your delta x, that is spatial derivative. So based on the delta, you fix a delta t. So first you fix space.
Okay.
See, right now if you are simulating, say like for example Japan or Himalayas, okay, how do we start? What is the first thing you will do? No. See, Himalayas or Japan or any region, say, the first thing you have to see is the topography, right? How topography is varying, then the material properties, okay, how they are varying. Suppose the metal properties are homogeneous and in the medium there is no topography, it is all flat kind of a thing, say, then you can go for bigger element sizes itself, okay. Suppose if the things are varying, say, then to model a hill like Mount Everest, okay, so you cannot if you want to model the topography, the spatial things you have to fix first of all. So once spatial things are fixed, say, then you have to fix the time delta t.
Okay, sir. But the thing is, when I was writing the code, I have got some weird values for the time step, 0.0003, 0.000, 10 power minus 4, like that. But
Oh
in
God, okay.
reality, when we look at ground motion time histories, we have dt as 0.01 or
No,
0.02,
how
like
much
that.
spatial space, how much you have taken h?
Uh, Even h value is very less.
So how much in meters
That's
or
why I was
kilometers or what
wondering.
is that? No, it is in meter or
Kilometers, sir. Kilometers.
no, generally if it is 100 meters or 1 kilometer, say, delta t will be 0.002 only. 10 to the power
Okay.
minus 10 will not come.
Minus 4. I got 10 power minus 4, like that.
10 to the power minus
Okay.
4 is fine, but we will not get 10 to the power minus 10 or something like that. Okay.
Okay.
But what that code is only for one dimension, no?
Yes.
But in general, you will have p wave velocity, you have shear wave velocity, then if it's a layered medium, say, then you will get variety of cases. Okay. So you try with that one, then we will come to 2D, 3D, say, maybe next week. So then, you will have a nice this itself. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So in these holidays, you please finish off that 7th chapter. I think 7th chapter only, all figures are.
Yes, sir, 7 chapter.
Yes. All the dispersion curves he has plotted, no? And if you want to plot some more also, it's up to you. Okay. So I will leave it to your, the creativity. So you don't no need to plot what that fellow, don't follow Mogzo actually. Who is he? You followed, right? He's also a researcher, so you can do better than that fellow also. So I leave it up to you itself. Some creativity. Instead of plotting exactly whatever plotted, see if he has plotted with P, you also plot with respect to P. So that is not the, I don't want. You have a minimum criteria, you should plot same as what he has plotted, but you can do much better also. So I leave it to you. Okay.